Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. Okay, things look like they are good, as far as I can
Not
tell.
for me.
Not for
Do you
you.
guys
Yeah.
pay for any additional cloud storage on your devices?
Nope.
Yes.
Okay.
I have whatever like the next tier up is for Dropbox, because I use Dropbox for like a huge majority of things.
Yeah. Dude, Dropbox yells at me every time I go to use it. Hey, you should upgrade. No, I literally
there, like,
use you to upload files. That's it.
I can't even fit a gig.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah.
bro, chill out.
You become somebody else's problem as soon as I upload.
Yep.
Before I left for Florida, I got hey, you're at like 80%, 85% storage for your Gmail account, which I have an Android phone, so
it all goes in there.
Photos, videos, emails, everything goes into the account. And I was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then I drove through horrifically bad thunderstorm weather several times throughout 4 different days.
I'll be right back. Keep
going south and going north, I drove through terrible thunderstorm weather. So I was telling, I had my Google Watch on. So I was telling my watch to record video through my phone because my phone is on like a little holder on the dashboard.
Yeah.
So the camera looks over the dashboard. So I was like, oh, record a video. I want to see if I can catch some of this lightning shit because it's so cool. By the way, lightning in the south was yellow, which was weird to me. Lightning up north is white. Extremely strange to me. Don't know if it's just a light diffusion thing, but whatever.
Yeah. I think it's the closer you get to the... Oh, boy, I'm speaking on my ass now. But, yeah, I think it's something to do with the closer you get to the equator.
It would make sense. It would depend on atmospheric values and everything else.
Yeah.
But like I drove through a thunderstorm here yesterday, and the thunderstorm here was like crystal blue white lightning, and I was like, "This is how it should be. None of this yellow quitting smokers like lightning that they've got down south." But I was telling my phone to do that, and I took a whole bunch of photos and all that kind of stuff. And then it's like, well, your stuff's no longer getting backed up. If you lose your phone, you're screwed. I was like, okay, I'm going to have to sit down on my PC and do the whole thing where I take an entire year's worth of stuff and just remove it from my phone and put it on a hard drive. And then I realized I have 7 hard drives around me, and I have no idea which one's got what on it anymore.
That's why you got to put a tag on it.
I need stickers. Yeah. So, yes, that's my next project is stickers. And I was like, well, I don't have time to sort out now because I'm going back to work and I'm doing my second job and I don't have time for anything. How much is the stupid cloud storage upgrade? Because I'm currently at 15 gigabytes and that was like not much, but it was fine for however long I've had a Gmail account. So 20 years at this point. How much is the upgrade and what's the size? It's like, oh, it's 100 gigs. And it's $1.49 a month, and I was like, "Fucking sold." If I could put this off, organizing my shit for like another 50 years because you've just sold me 100 gigs of like storage for $1.49, I'm fucking fine with that. Take my $1.49 a month. I don't fucking care. In fact, I'll pay yearly. Take my $12, and I don't have to worry about this again.
All right, so I was partially correct. Yellow lightning is due to heat. So yes, the closer you get to the equator, it's not technically just because it's getting closer to the equator, but the equator tends to be hotter. You ready to have your mind blown about a couple other things?
Okay.
There is such a thing as red lightning, green lightning, orange lightning, yellow lightning, which we just covered, pink lightning, purple lightning, on top of the common bluish white lightning.
Goodness.
Yeah. I was just saying, Boston, the thunderstorms in the south were weird because they were yellow lightning.
Right.
And the ones up here were like, literally 3 days after I get back, there's a thunderstorm here, and it's the shit I know. It's the crystal white, blue lightning.
That like really bright lightning. Yeah.
That's how I know I'm home, is because I don't get weird lightning.
I don't think I've ever seen a different I guess, color shift in lightning before. I think it's always been white or blue.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So. Well, I also did drive through several thunderstorms and a tropical storm, so it did kind of explain
adding to that heat element and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. 111 degrees heat index on one of the days I was there, by the way, guys.
Oh, yeah, what's your dew point?
Doing just fine.
My dew point is do not leave the fucking house.
Got him. Got two of them.
Dew point.
Dew point is air conditioner is on nonstop.
Yep. All right. Are you guys ready to get started?
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
I will say, the second I walked into that hotel room, I fucking turned that AC on, and I did not fucking turn it off.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah, it stays on.
I left the room for 6 hours, and I don't care. I'm walking in for 65 degrees.
Yep. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, aka TVGP. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hi. If I stammer or stall or go silent for a while, or you hear a rumbling from my microphone being thrown around, that's just friendly Mr. Wasp. Don't you worry about it. Listen to the pre-show.
That's right. And the Nip.
Hello.
You want to hear more about our new brand new friend? He's a sharp one, Mr. Wasp.
I hate you.
Check out the Outcast over at patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones and numbers. I didn't even want to do that for you. I didn't want to do that.
I don't blame you. You can listen to the Outcast, which is our uncensored, exclusive, behind the scenes check. We're talking about all the rest of the stuff going on in our lives, except for video games. Talk about some bad movies. We get introduced to Mr. Wasp. Travel to some Alamo theaters. We do a whole bunch of stuff this week. You also get early access to We Roguelike It and Critical Misses. You get exclusive access to the Critical Misses production meeting at the $5 tier or higher. And you get exclusive access to The Wayward Sons, which is the supernatural TV show watchcast that Moon and the Nip are going through. Don't forget the best tier, the best value. One might say it's fun for a $5. You can get that over it's a $5 tier. That's per month, not per week or per episode. It's a great deal. Check that all out. Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
Also, quick note here: we, due to some scheduling conflicts, have moved our recording for our Magical Delicacy Game Club episode.
You remembered
to next weekend.
In my notes.
Yeah. So that'll be next weekend. So you still got another week to finish that game up. Currently playing Magical Delicacy. All right, Moon. What have you been playing these past 2 weeks?
So shockingly enough, not a lot, because I was driving a lot. When you spend over a straight day driving, I didn't do it all in one sitting. Listen to the pre-show.
Right.
It turns out that you don't really have time for video games, and I'm not Jeff Grubb. I'm not going to be playing Marvel Snap while driving to wherever I'm going to next.
Oh my God! Yeah, no one should do. Put your phone down.
Yes, thank you very much. Please, I don't want to die because other people are stupid. I'm gonna. So, for those of you who may or may not be aware, I went and attended Hollow's Memorial for the Banffcast, which is why I drove so long. I drove to Florida. The main thing I did there, other than be sad / happy / have fun / not have fun, was play pinball. I'm going to save that till the end of my section.
Okay.
Because there's a lot we need to go into that. So in the meantime, between then and there, I've done a little bit of video game playing. So we're going to start with the one which is the easiest when you're on the go, which is Super Mario Wonder. I now officially have one world left to go, Boston.
Oh, okay.
I have 100%ed every single level, and I'm up to the lava place.
Dang.
I have done every single level in the secret world so far.
Oh my.
Which I don't know if it's just me, but for levels that feel like get good levels, I'm sure good is what I'm gonna say.
I have gotten good.
Because some of those have been an absolute cakewalk, and that's fine. I'm fine with them being not punishing, but it could also be because the last time I played a 2D Mario game, I was playing it 3-player, And those last levels when you're playing 3-player are nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Because you have to make precision jumps the whole time, and there's 3 of you, and you have the stupid bubble system.
Yeah, the bubbles.
But Super Mario Wonder is still great. I do think it needs a little bit of tweaks here and there with regards to making it more accessible. The fact that Yoshi and everyone can't use the suits is a little bit ridiculous. I understand logically why, but it's a little bit disappointing. The bubble being on a timer is a problem, but whatever. Super Mario Wonder is a fantastic piece of 2D platforming in any case, period. And having it be so new and fresh with like the 3 different powers that you get now, the new ones, the drill, the elephant, the bubbles.
Yep.
It's all really cool. Y'all should give it a try if you like 2D Mario games. That's all I'm going to say.
I think that's the thing that I'm still so happy about with this game, is that so much of it feels fresh. I think you used the right word there of just like, on the surface it looks like, yeah, here's a Mario game, we're platforming, whoopity-doo. I've been through doing this for 35 years. But it is...
But it's not new Super Mario Brothers.
Right. Right. But it is like genuinely really fun and really clever in a lot of different ways. It's cool.
Yeah. And there's like a bunch of stuff that you can use and not use in it too. Like the badges you can use or ignore. Like there's a whole bunch of different stuff. You don't have to do the crazy thing I'm doing and do the whole 100% thing. That's just how I'm wired.
Right.
I can't help that fact. I don't know. It's a genuinely fun game, and I still have Super Mario Odyssey waiting to get started. Yeah. So I'm very curious to see how I'm going to feel having played them in the reverse order and having not played a 3D Mario since Galaxy 1, I believe. Okay.
Sure.
So it's been a while on that front for me too.
Yeah.
But it's Super Mario Brothers one. Give it a shot. Like, especially if you have youngins, like it does offer that same screen co-op stuff. Just be prepared to lose a lot of lives if they refuse to play as Nabbit or Yoshi.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say. Let's see. Lethal Company on Friday. It's been a while since I played Lethal Company, honestly, because 2 jobs and everything else is just not ideal. But it is what it is. Turns out Lethal Company is still stupid amounts of fun.
Yep.
Stupid amounts of chaos. And it's had like 3 more updates since I last played it, so new monsters have been added again, including a red fox.
Oh, nice.
Red fox is not great. It's not great at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of nightmare fuel, in fact. But I don't know. It's Lethal Company. I can't help but adore Lethal Company. It's the game that I feel you don't need prep time to have fun with. It's the game I feel you can literally just load it up. I only played with 3. We didn't have a full squad of 4 or more because everybody was busy. That's fine. I'm not going to insult you all for having a life. You all need to get a Lethal Company life. But everybody was busy, so we played with 3, and it was simple. We jumped in, we had fun, we had a great and stupid time. And then we all died. You know, as is the case with Lethal Company.
Right, where every run eventually goes to.
Yes, it's the roguelike problem.
Right.
I at one point did consider floating this past Boston as a Wii roguelike it season, but it's multiplayer, which makes it harder to do that for that kind of show. Lethal Company is great. If you're interested, check out the LFG group. Check out, just at me, do whatever you need to do if you're interested in playing it. We try and play on Friday nights, 9 Eastern. Just depends on the week. That's fine. Sometimes we don't, sometimes we do. Just keep an eye out. You'll see it if you're interested in joining in. Community members definitely welcome. I have a max squad of 32 available, so
there you go. Plenty of room.
I'm just saying, I'd like to see 32 people all go into that place at the same time and see how rough it goes.
Right.
I can't even imagine 32 people in the shuttle.
Chaos.
Yeah. So I did learn my lesson this time, and I still have the mods, the emote mod installed that has all of the music associated with it. I muted all of the audio for it. So now all I see is dancing. It's great. I don't hear 17 different musical streams. I don't hear 17 different pieces of music. I just see dancing, and I'm fine with that. It works better for my particular brainworms, we'll say.
I hope there is something in that game that because you've muted that particular soundbite, you will no longer be able to hear until it's on top of you.
Right. That'd be great.
So, I don't think I've ever discussed this before. I don't think I have, not on the show. But a while ago, I installed a mod specifically for Bilsiford. Now, I can't remember if he has seen the effects of this. I think he has. If not, then this is a spoiler for Bill, I guess. Bill is the moth, because anytime he sees the power generator for the floors, he cannot help but take it. And what that does is it shuts all the power down on the floor and opens up all of the security doors and lets all of the monsters out. I installed a mod, which means you need 2 people to take that out.
Yeah, that did happen. I was there when it first happened, because it was when we first got into an SCP facility.
I just can't remember if Bill's was there when...
I think he was.
Have you seen it pulled out yet, is the question.
I have not. Well, I wasn't there when he pulled it out, but I was on the radio when he was like, what is this crap where it takes 2 people now?
Yes. Okay, so he probably hasn't seen the effect of it, and if that's the case, I'm going to spoil the effect of it right now, which is when you have 2 people, you can still pull it. One person pulls it out and one person carries it still, but it puts the site into nuclear meltdown.
Oh, no.
And you have 2 minutes to leave. That's it.
No.
And then after 2 minutes, a nuclear explosion happens and destroys the entire site.
Wow.
The ship will automatically leave if you don't get to it in time. We found the apparatus. That's the name of it. We found that a lot this past time we were playing it, and we pulled it a lot. And I don't know if it's the mod, but all of a sudden, everything is around the apparatus room. It goes from being no enemies there, clean run, nice simple line straight to the exit point, to you pull the apparatus. Now there's 2 of the ceiling bugs hanging around. Oh wait, there's the bracken. Oh wait, there's 2 thumpers, and it's like, why? How?
Why is this a party now?
Like, how did this get so bad so quick? And I don't know if that's the mod or whatever, but it's great because when you pull it, it gives a big audio thing. It's like being in the first Alien Boston, where she's starting the self-destruct mode, and it's like, self-destruct in 4 minutes.
Shut up, mother. Try and get out of here.
It gives you the countdown. It gives you big sirens. Random explosions start happening all over the base, so you're just running down a corridor, and then a big explosion happens in front of you.
Wow.
It's terrifying, and also super duper fun. Cannot recommend Lethal Company enough. Only other thing well, 2 things left. Dying Light 2.
Oh.
So I made a promise to Rob that I would try and play Dying Light 2. And since Rob was the friend of the show who was kind enough to buy this game for me the day it came out, and I still haven't played it since, I'm trying to play it with Rob. Now, we are following our Dying Light 1 rules, which is to say we are both using freshies, so brand new characters that we've never, no levels, no nothing like that. And I started that the other day.
Okay.
Dying Light 2 is an absolutely beautiful game with the storytelling of a 3rd grader. It is about as tropish as it can be. I got to the first town, or we got to the first town, I should say. We went in, and then this dude who's running a store starts getting accused of poisoning people. And then you're trying to get to the bottom of the case, and you're like, he's like, well, I get my water from Marco, it all comes sealed, everything's all fine. well, who might have a problem with you? Who might be trying to set you up and frame you in this kind of situation? He's like, nobody. Everybody loves me. Well, everybody except for Marco. Marco seems to have a problem with me. It's like, dude, the cause of your problems is the water.
Right.
The person who has a problem with you is the person selling you the water.
How have you not put it together, bro?
How has nobody in that town put it together? Because
Right.
if I remember correctly, Marco is the only source of water in that town, not just for that store.
Well, surely it can't be
That
Marco.
I don't know yet. It's just like, come on, like really? Is that how stupid we're going? I did meet the police. I did get to I almost got hanged.
Mm-hmm.
Then I met a dude who helped me with the bazaar folk. Bazaar like shops, not bazaar like gold dust, for the record. Shout out to my wrestling fans for getting that reference. And then I got almost killed by the police. Sorry, the peacekeepers. AKA the police, who then asked me to side with them on something. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with a phrase. A, C, A, B.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I will not be helping the peacekeepers
Right.
in any way, shape, or form because they're literally post-apocalyptic cops.
Right.
So no, I will not give you water. No, I will not help you find these fancy golden knuckles that you want. I'll do it for the story and the achievement.
You couldn't even figure out Marco was poisoning the water. I'm not gonna help you.
That was the
they
bizarre
didn't care.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
they didn't care about the bizarre people.
Yeah,
That's right.
The other people don't care. They're busy trying to hang people in the streets for stealing and off hands and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, well,
Different problems.
I guess we're gonna see from here. One of the downsides about starting a new game in this kind of genre, well, in this genre, in these two games, Dying Light 2, is I'm sprinting across rooftops and then like, cool, I'm gonna slide under this barrier, and then I hit B, and then I stop still, and crouch.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Because I haven't unlocked the skill to do the slide yet.
That sucks so much.
And it's like, oh, I want to do the little wall jump. Oh, wait, nope, can't do that either. Oh, I want to jump off a zombie's head to get higher. Wait, nope, can't do that either yet.
Oh god.
It feels like it feels like when you start a Fallout game or a Skyrim game right after beating a different one, and you're just like, I remember, I'm so good, I'm a badass, I can do all this kind of stuff. And it's like, no, you can't, dude.
You can't even fly.
You can run and do a little jump, and that's it. Like,
Right.
get to your enchanting table and get your game breaking bugs on, please, because apparently I need to do a whole bunch of stuff to get my skills back, and it's dumb, but I'm super duper excited to be able to just. It feels like the area that these two games, Dying Light and Dying Light 2, so far, have always shined in, is that free running moment, that expression of just being like, I need to go there, so I'm just gonna. And I made this reference last night. I'm just going to faith my way there. I'm going to mirror's edge my way across these buildings, little skips up the walls. That expression of movement is always felt like that. This is where these games are so strong.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, yeah, you could go do all of this stuff. You figure out your own path. And you get to the edge of a roof like you're just running. You don't stop. You don't hesitate. You don't look. You just get to the edge. You hit the jump button and you see like a yellow platform or a platform on the other side. And you're like, I hope I jumped far enough to hit that point.
I was gonna say 9 times out of 10, you're lucky if there's something on the other end of that jump.
Right.
Yeah, but that moment where you just come off the edge of a building and you're just like, I've already hit jump. I'm already in the air. I hope I land.
Yeah. How far can I
in
jump?
the correct place. If I don't, I'm gonna have broken ankles. And it immediately took me back to playing Dying Light 1 with Rob and you, Nimp, where we were in separate places, and then all I hear over the microphone is "ow," and it's like, well, someone jumped off a building, and it didn't go as planned.
I was in the first game. It wasn't an issue when I found out that you could land on cars or in like trash piles and stuff. In this game, and maybe they fixed it because I know that they're still patching and stuff like that with this game. They're still supporting it. But for the life of me, I could never hit a car or a trash pile correctly.
They're so hard to see. And they always put them closer to the building. Like, this isn't one of those things usually where, like, you jump off a building as far as you can and it's in the right place based on jumping as far as you can. Normally, it's you jump off a building and then as you're looking down, it's like 20 feet behind you because they're just expecting a little pit instead of a big old leap off the building.
Yep.
It's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to break my legs now. And then you do.
And landed this horde of zombies. And
And because you don't have the skippy jump, you can't do the skippy jump out because you can't jump off zombies' heads. It's very interesting so far. But this story is the story. It's a Dying Light story. There's a dude who I'm trying to help. He gave me a cool, like, Fitbit looking thing to tell me how sick I am, which is like, even in the post-apocalypse, apparently, they still get your data, I guess.
Yeah. Which is why they were trying to hang you to begin with, because you didn't have one.
Didn't have the data.
Yeah.
I 100% skipped that prologue.
Say yes to the ECL.
The ironic thing is I think that the prologue sets up a more interesting thing. Because the whole thing with the character you play in this game, Boston, is he's a pilgrim, which means he doesn't live in a city. He lives in the wild. So he travels from city to city to city, doing odd jobs to make ends meet and like surviving in the open world.
He's kind of a postal worker because he makes deliveries too.
That's a cool game.
It's a cool premise. Yeah.
Give me Dying Light 3, except you play as a pilgrim and you're in the cruise version of America or whatever, where you're just like
Dying Light 3 is a Strand game.
Across.
Let's do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because what is Dying Light? I was gonna say, because what does Dying Light turn into if there's no buildings and stuff for you to constantly scale? You're just in an open field, so now you got to run. Hopefully, you can climb trees.
It's Assassin's Creed 3 all over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's a concept that I'm really interested in because it's like, oh, now you're in this city, enjoy life behind the walls, and it's like, oh,
I don't want to be.
Let me go back into the fields.
Yeah,
like let me go, because that's what the Dying Light 1 DLC was. There was a whole bunch of like, go explore this field area with like farmlands and stuff like that. All that stuff was super duper interesting. And I'm sure the plot of Dying Light 2 will matter as little to me as the Dying Light 1 plot did. Minus the fact that I love the fact that the ending to the DLC is you firing a nuke at the place, which is just chef's kiss. Like you're responsible for the downfall of the place. Hey, Boston.
Yeah.
What do you think the main character's name is of Dying Light 2? And I'm not going to pass this to Nim because I'm assuming he's forgotten at this point.
I think I might have.
Is it just Pilgrim? Is that just your name?
No. That's how people refer to you, but you do have a name.
I don't know.
It is one of the funniest names because the only other time I've heard this in a video game context, he had an iconic cap.
Nope, I do remember the name.
God, what was his name? Aiden?
Aiden is his name, baby.
I couldn't remember if that was the character's name from the first game or not.
Oh my god.
But that's the hilarious thing is I can't remember his name because that's his name. I remember his name because of the Watch Dogs 1 character.
Right.
That is how I remember his name, is because he has a cap.
Oh, yeah.
It's so stupid. Anyway, Dying Light 2. I'm not far into it. There's a lot going on. They already introduced bolters and everything else, and it's like, oh, now go do these events, and I've got a map littered with objectives. It's like, I forgot what I was in for when I signed up for this.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I have to talk about is Pinball. I love the Bamfcast crew, and I despise the Bamfcast crew because I will happily go 6 months to 2 years and never think about pinball. And then they start talking about pinball, and it's like, oh man, I forgot how much I really love pinball.
You know what's great? Pinball. Yeah.
Pinball's fantastic. So since I got back, I've played a lot of Pinball FX2.
Nice.
2, by the way. The now continuing a trend of mine, the now delisted Pinball FX2.
Right.
I don't know what it is with me and delisted games. Apparently, I don't like them till they're not popular anymore. So I've been playing Pinball FX2 because I have achievements to get in that game before I move on to 3.
A lot of achievements.
Well, but I can only get the achievements to the tables I bought because everything else is delisted by now. So that's fine.
There you go.
How many tables have you bought?
A lot. Not all.
Say, from my understanding, no one just got Pinball FX and was like, yeah, I'm not going to buy DLC. Let's just stick with the core pinball machines.
So thanks, Mackie, by the way, for this little piece of advice, because I never thought about it before. I did also download all of the other free pinball games, which is basically the storefronts that you can download, and then they sell DLC separately.
Oh, right.
And I may or may not have wishlisted every single piece of DLC throughout every single one of those games because I really forgot how much I love pinball. And if I can get a pack of 12 tables for 50% off, I will take it. So
heck yeah.
All of them are now on my wish list.
Nice.
Thanks, Mackie, for the recommendation, and I hate you, Mackie, for the recommendation. So one of the big things with Pinball FX2 that's bothering me, and it's funny because Boston has just pulled up a video of Sorcerer's Lair, which is the table that's included for free in Pinball FX2.
Mm.
The problem was they were very strict on achievements then when it first came out. So it was like, oh, hey, you need to have 1,000 gamer score. And you need to have the achievements to actually, do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Downside to that is that the achievements for the tables, all the rest of the tables are fine. It's like, oh, hey, this is a table. Do this one thing on the table. You get one achievement. It goes with that one table. Okay. So, like, you buy a pack of 3. It comes with 3 achievements, 1 for each table, essentially.
Okay.
Sorcerer's Lair's achievements are do all of the modes.
Mm.
You get an achievement per mode. Do the wizard mode, which is do all of the modes and then you do the final mode on the table, essentially. Do all the modes successfully.
Oh.
And get all of the obsidian for the table. So on Sorcerer's Lair, you get obsidian for successfully completing each mode. The obsidian is the V shape on the bottom of the table that you can see, Boston. They light up with the obsidian when you collect them. There's 13 in total. So one of the achievements is do all of the modes, get all of the obsidian, and then do the wizard mode to completion.
Oh.
So basically,
Pinball arcade all over again.
be a pro ass pro at this table.
Yeah.
Like, the downside is I'm really good at this table because I've played it way too much.
Mm-hmm.
I am number 1 on my friend's leaderboard.
Oh, here we go. Humble bragging. The downside.
Yes, the downside. I'm number 1 on my friend's leaderboard. I have 577 million on this table. Number 2 is Mackie, who's the only other pinball/achievement freak like me. He's at 300 million, so he clearly had the smart idea and gave up after a while.
Right.
I didn't. I have a problem. So now I'm playing Pinball FX2 before I play Pinball FX3, and then Pinball FX, which is the newest version of it.
Oh, yeah, because they did that, like, the global...
The reboot into the new engine.
Yeah, and it's like a global kind of launcher.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So now I have all of that nightmare to scale through. Thanks again, Mackie, and everybody else.
Thanks again, Pinball, for being so good.
Yes. Because Pinball FX2 and so on and so forth, and I know they have the Williams license now a lot too, so a lot of their newer stuff has the Williams licenses in there.
And it has the, whatever studio made that, was that Farsight maybe? They have the like pro mode physics engine from those games too, which
they have a different engine for the real life tables.
Yeah, which I think feels
compared
so
to their
much
tables
better, personally.
I like them both. Like, that's the funny thing is I like them both for different reasons. Like, I like the BS that they can get away with in the Pinball FX stuff. Like, yeah, I want to play the Iron Man table and have Iron Man firing lasers everywhere. That's great.
Some of those table designs are really cool. Of just like, what can we do if we don't have to be constrained by physics? Yeah,
it's really good. Some of them are crazy, and some of them are fantastic. And then you get the real life tables. And I don't mean the Pinball FX real life tables. I mean, I played a lot of pinball tables over the past 2 weeks. Real pinball tables.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Boston.
Yes.
Have you heard of a little company called Stern?
Yes.
Did you know they have a pinball app?
Oh, no.
And did you know in the newer tables that they are making, they have a little scanner.
Track it, yeah.
Oh,
a little scanner on the front of the table. And then when you see that little scanner thing, you do what I'm doing right now, and you pull up the Stern Insider app for your phone, and you hit this little button right here, and it gives you a QR code. And then you take that QR code and you go boop on the table, and it logs you into your Stern Insider account on the table you are currently playing in real life.
This is like the horse racing thing where it spit out the little card for you to track your stats.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I had one of those for the initial D arcade cabinet. It was incredible. Except it tells you like, so, oh look, I have a connections list, and I can go in here and go, oh look, there is Mackie, friend of the show. He is based in this location. He has, and this is the scary part for you, Boston, when you know who you're talking to. He has 163 achievements in pinball games.
Real life pinball games, just to be specific.
Real life pinball games.
Yeah.
He has played 94 tables.
Wow.
And here is a list of all of the tables he has played and all of his high scores on each of those tables.
You know, I kind of do like the idea of you being able to track your high score across all these tables, like removing the competition element of it. I kind of like having that record of, yeah, I played this table at this place and I got this high score. Like, I think that's kind of a cool record of your the tables you've played.
It's so much easier than taking a photograph of the score and hoping you got your camera out in time to take a photograph of the table. Like, I have a photograph of my, I think it was 86 million score on the Starship Troopers table, because that is a really fun table. But it's not a modern table, so it's not linked to anything. It's just like, cool, you better remember this high score.
Open
and
the
if you ever want to find out, you better drive down to Florida if you want to remember what this high score was and hope it's still on the machine.
Yeah.
But like, it's a list of all of the tables that he's played. And all of his high scores on each of those tables. And because I don't know how much you're into the modern day pinball stuff, Boston, but now when they release pinball tables, they have different editions.
Okay.
So they have a pro edition, and then they sometimes have a premium edition and then a limited edition table. So it's 3 different tables. Essentially, the exact same layout, the exact same things, just some things have changed.
Okay.
I think the pro version of the new Godzilla table is black and white.
Oh,
like
cool.
The artwork on the back is black and white.
Right.
I think the limited edition version is in color, and a different version of it, I think, also has, like, you can choose between English and Japanese audio on the actual thing.
That's interesting.
So
okay.
It's really cool. But, like, there is Mackie's score on Godzilla for the different variants of the tables.
Wow. Okay. So, like, they're taking it seriously, not like, you played this table, burnt, whatever.
Well...
I spoke too soon.
What? Okay, Boston. I'm hiring you. My name is Mr. Stern.
Hello, Mr. Stern.
Which is ironic, because it kind of is. I'm hiring you. You're a developer. You need to make me an app for my range of pinball tables. We got the basics sorted out. It's QR code, you log in on the table. It's all kept in the cloud, so on and so forth. That's all fine. We know that. What is the most important thing that you must have in this app as a pinball wizard? I can't believe I just used the term pinball wizard, but yes.
Well, you're killing it on the marketing, Mr. Stern. I don't know. I don't know enough about pinball to.
What is rule number 1 of pinball? Ignoring the app, ignoring everything else, what is the very first thing that matters when you're playing pinball on a table? What are you trying to do on that pinball table?
Set a high score? Leaderboards?
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
We're getting there.
Uh-huh.
What's the most important thing you have to have in an app when you can have social connections with other people in different parts of the world, when you can compare high scores?
Friends leaderboards.
Guess what this app does not have?
Did Nintendo make this one?
Apparently they put about as much effort in. If I want to compare my score with Mackie's, I have to go, okay, so Mackie's high score on the Black Knight Sword of Rage table, which is the new Black Knight table, by the way, and it's a banger of a table. Really good table. And it has the original Black Knight music in the background too, so it's even better. So Black Knight Swords of Rage, Mackie has 30 million points. So I need to go in the app. I need to go back to my homepage. So I'm waiting for it to load again because I went back to my homepage.
You know, the cloud and so forth.
Yep. And then I need to go to tables, machines, my profile. Scroll down to the B's, to the Black Knight table, because it's all alphabetical. Okay, I have 82 million. What was Mackie's score again? Because I don't know if I can't remember if I beat his score.
No idea.
Okay, let me just click into the table and see if there's any way of checking that. No, there isn't. There is no way of comparing my score against his direct. There is no friends leaderboard.
And there's not
nothing.
And can you see the leaderboard of that specific table from when you visited it?
So the only way you could do that is if you go back to the home screen, wait for it to load again.
It's 10 easy steps.
All they have to do is just take a screenshot and text it to each other. I mean, why wouldn't you have your friend's phone number?
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to realize I went to the wrong page. So I'm going to go to the Play Now page. I'm going to search by locations. I'm going to search for the specific place I went to, which was in Georgia, not Florida, by the way. And then on that page is a monthly leaderboard for August. I don't know if that will stay throughout the rest. The problem is we played the same tables in 2 different locations.
Okay.
So when we went to the second location, the main reason I'm bringing this up is because I played a lot of tables. I played Godzilla, I played John Wick table, which is kind of cool, the Deadpool table, classic Batman, new Batman, classic Bond, new Bond. I think my table of the moment is the Stranger Things table.
Okay.
I absolutely adore the Stranger Things table. Mostly because it doesn't have side paddles, like it doesn't have side flippers, so I don't have to worry about no rolling down the ramp, skill shot into an out lane kind of thing. It's got a good set of bumpers on it, and it's got really solid effects. It has one of my favorite reveals in pinball ever. Boston, if memory serves, you haven't seen Stranger Things, correct?
Correct.
Nimp, have you seen Stranger Things?
I saw the first season. I didn't see anything past that.
That's all you need to have seen. That's fine. Because I think it's based on the first 2 seasons, but all you really need is the first one. So it does this wonderful thing on the table where as you're playing it, like it has the Demogorgon attack, so it will fall down. The Demogorgon is there, and you have to hit him with the balls. If you hit one in his mouth, you get a hole in one, and it gets rid of him in one shot. It's fantastic. Randomly, or not randomly, but there will be a mode that you can do on it where in the middle of playing the lights on the table all go out and it becomes blacklit and it puts you in the upside down.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's such a good reveal of like, oh, now you're in the upside down, now all these targets are lit and all of the lights go out and it's just blacklit, and it's all tendrily because all blacklight ink is all the tendrily upside down kind of looking thing.
That's pretty cool.
one of my favorite reveals while playing at a table ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like recessed or like increased height tables, like special secret tables. But the second it did that, because it did the Stranger Things effect to Nymph, where it was like it did the kind of noise.
Nice, yeah.
And as the lights flickered, and then it went into the UV light mode, I was like, oh, that's such a good moment. It's so great. But the reason I like it is it doesn't have the side paddles, which I hate. I'm not great at those. And it's super rampy. So it's got like 5 or 6 ramps at the top that you can just send the balls up. And I just like sending balls up a loopy ramp.
Yep.
I can't help it. It's a great feeling. It's the thing I really like in pinball. So part of the thing we ran into with that was like I played a little bit at the first place. Then at the second place, I went on and got like smashed. People were not paying attention to where the reader on it was. The reader was not on the top like it normally is. It's on the front. So like someone had put a high score on for the table of like 110 million or no, like 38 million. I jumped on and dropped 110 million. I was like, okay, come on. Come at me now, bros. And the best part is because they're all synced up to this Stern Insider cloud thing. That's for those watching the video version, Boston is showing where you hold your phone to. It's got an LCD display. Like these places now have LCD displays with the list of all of the tables and the high scores and the logins and everything like that. So then Mackie goes on the table, and I'm playing something else at this point. I'm miles away from this table. I'm like playing something else. I wrap up the game, and Mackie comes over to me, and he shows me a photograph on his phone because he couldn't get his thing to log in. He's like, there you go, I beat you. And I was like, oh, it's on now, punk.
I'll be right back.
So I literally went back to the Stranger Things table, and I beat his high score. And then during the trip, I ended up going back to the first location again. And not only did I beat his high score and my high score, I put like 210 million up, which is...
Jeez.
I don't know how I did it, because the whole point of it was like there was one multi-ball mode I couldn't get to activate because I was struggling with one of the ramps. I just wanted that multi-ball. And then the 210 million or whatever it is that I put up, that was the one where I got that multi-ball. I was like, oh, I can rest easy now because I have finally got this one multi-ball mode that I was desperately looking forward to.
Right.
It was so much fun. Like, I played so much pinball. Like, so much pinball. And a table flipping game from Japan where you have to flip a table.
Oh my god, I've always wanted to play that. It looks so fun.
It is so stupid and so weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand the mechanics of it because I don't speak Japanese.
But you had fun.
Yes, I had fun. Like, we had a table flip off where we all sat there and figured out it's a baseball diamond. It's like, how far can you launch the objects on the table by flipping the table? So it was it was fun. It was stupid. I don't know. I played a lot of pinball. Too many pinball tables to name, if I'm completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have fun watching, and I apologize in advance to this, gents. Mackie and BJ see like a mechanical ping pong maze ball thing designed for kids, and seeing the pair of them like literally sitting on a kid's seat with this big wheel rotating this big maze. I was just like, it's cool, gents, but I don't know if it's I'm gonna break my knees level of cool. No, it was fun. I had a great time. I played probably too much pinball, if I'm honest, and I now may or may not have Googled if there are similar places nearby me.
Yeah. Hopefully.
There is.
Yes.
But I have not had the time to be there yet. So
right.
Their website looks like it's from the 1996s.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that's a good sign.
That means that's probably a pretty good place. They're too busy doing pinball stuff to run a website.
I'll say they probably have machines from 96.
Exactly. That's a good sign.
So I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I don't know how frequently the website gets updated, but we'll see. Oh, and yes, I did find it. 216 million was my Stranger Things score on the limited edition table.
Fancy.
On the premium, it was 137. I miss pinball, and I always forget how much I miss pinball until these idiots set me off, and then the second those idiots set me off, I'm like, I'm sorry, listeners of TVGP, you're gonna hear about pinball
That's right.
for a while.
You're having a pinball summer.
I will spend the money so you don't have to when I have the money and the gift cards. That's why I found my gift card, because I needed my gift card to buy pinball tables. Saving you money by me buying it.
Right.
Is the rule here. But yes, that's all I did. It's been 2 weeks of pinball and driving. Have fun. Nim,
Nice.
tell me about your nightmare.
All right. So, Legend of the Heroes Trails Through Daybreak. I have completed that game now.
Yes.
Finally. Completion time was at like 69 hours. A lot of that was the game was just paused and I had to walk away to go do something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking it's a lot closer to 50, really.
Okay, that's not so bad.
No, and unfortunately, because Falcom likes to add a bunch of fluff in the last chapter, a good portion of it I just skipped without listening to the dialogue or anything. It feels like it's easily 70 to 80% of the dialogue in any of their final chapters. It's just nothing that really adds any, like maybe the tiniest bit of flavor context for a character that you're not going to remember. So completed that. I do have the New Game Plus, or the Clear game, I guess that everyone's starting to call them now. That allows you to pretty much bring everything. There's like 3 options that you can choose from. There's a just like a carryover items, achievements, and nostalgia items. This game does have an achievement system inside the game that also unlocks when you unlock trophies, because I believe this is also on the Switch.
Oh, so Evil style thing where it gives you bonuses based on the achievements.
Yep, and you get items and stuff for for unlocking the trophies, achievements, whatever in game as well. So it's cool. It works out. You can carry over character levels, crafts, items, all that stuff, and you can carry over all your money and stuff.
Nice.
Those are the 3 options. You can choose of those 3. You can choose not to do that or bring them all over. I don't know why you wouldn't.
Right.
So, my next game, which is going to be kind of short, is because Boston talked about it last week and it was brought up at my dinner table after podcast. I played PowerWash Simulator with my daughter.
Oh, okay. I also played that this week.
Oh, okay. I did co-op with her. She is at the house that has the random symbols on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like a regular house.
Yeah, home. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we played. Well, I played for at least an hour and a half with her. And the entire time my son was in here talking to me, and we were just going back and forth talking about stuff. And I pulled up the status, and we'd only gone up by like 2% for cleaning. And my son's like, "You've been playing this forever. Why are you guys only at 2%?" And I'm like, "Go check on your sister. Is she asleep?"
Right.
Because I find
also it's not clean enough.
Yeah,
right.
I find her character like just standing there where I left her like an hour ago.
Right.
Yeah, she's passed out. So I had just been cleaning the entire front porch by myself while she was supposed to be on the side. And she did clean stuff over there, but at some point she just kind of fell asleep while
the water soothed her to sleep.
I'm just gonna say that's supervisor material right there.
That's right.
Oh, exactly.
That's right.
You keep going. I'm gonna sit in the shade over here.
Right. I'm just gonna close my eyes for a minute.
So I got out of that game with her then. My son kept playing and got our cleaning to 78%, but then I went back into my save file because I was just like, you know what, I'm going to start knocking out the treehouse.
Right.
I am now at the point where I believe... So the treehouse has 3 different tiers. There's ground level stuff, or I guess technically 4. There's ground level, there's a first tier, there's like kind of a second half tier that leads into the 3rd tier, which is where the house is actually at. And I believe right now I've completed everything on the ground level, the first tier, and like that second half tier. So now I just have the last tier with the house up in it in the tree house. And I guess... Jesus, cat. what I had been saving up for the most part was trying to get the next PowerWasher, which I think is the black and red one. I don't know if that's the last one, but it's more powerful than what I had started with. And I know the one before that was the one I had been using, and it was taking forever to do anything. Once I had this black one, the black and red one, everything was going a lot smoother.
Oh,
nice. It was
still
taking some time, but it was a heck of a lot smoother. So yeah, and I have all the extensions and stuff for it too. So that's making it a lot easier to like get underneath all of the tiers and spray the underneath and all that. I did fall into a brief rabbit hole of, can you grind for money in this game?
Oh, okay.
And the answer is kinda.
Okay.
You can't repeat any of your previous ones unless you want to restart your save. But it sounds like it's one of those where you have to beat it and then you can restart, and then it's kind of like a new game plus, it was sounding like.
Okay.
But the side jobs that you get, those are repeatable. So like the free DLC and stuff like that. But you don't get the same. I think someone said you only get like a third of what you would have gotten on your first initial clear.
Money. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can repeat those if you need it. A lot of people, once again, not being helpful at all online, because I was just curious if it was even a possibility, and everyone being like, well, why would you do that? Or why not just load, the cheat engine mod for like the Steam version and all that? And I'm like,
shut up.
Why can't you just answer the GD question?
Right. Is it possible or not?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to know.
Right.
So I think I am coming up towards the halfway point on this level, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a little bit. And it can be soothing, but I am kind of at that twitchy point where it's like, can we just move on already?
Right.
Like,
can I just be at the next one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I still have problem with the scaffolding, like actually moving it.
Oh my god, it's so frustrating.
I don't know why. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I can't get it to rotate, and I swear you could rotate it.
You can rotate it with L1 and R1, but every once in a while, I'll be in a level, and I'm rotating it like crazy, and everything's working fine. I pick it up, and I try to rotate it, and it just doesn't work. And I have to like save my game, exit out, and load it back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I swear we could do this.
Yep.
And it's been so long that I'm like, maybe I'm just making it up and I don't remember correctly. But I screwed around and I looked it up in the options and I couldn't see anything. Yep. I'm like, maybe I just made it up. So I had to shove the scaffolding to one side so that way I could kind of get to an area with my extra long extension, because of how this map is laid out. You can't get the scaffolding to be right up against it. You would have to finagle it. But because I couldn't finagle it, I had to get it as close as the stupid thing would let me get it, and then still like grab the end of the pole and like stick all the way out, lean so far over.
You're on one leg, like.
So, but yeah, that's all we did with that. I'm hoping to be done with the treehouse. I might play more of it this week or next week. But I am slowly still advancing on this.
That's definitely one of the biggest levels for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to get back to that. I only ever did like 3 levels on it. I was like, this is cool. I want to play it by myself.
It's so soothing, especially if you're like kind of like half watching a show, or you're listening to a podcast, or like listening to something. It's kind of, because the audio in this game is the like ching noise that it makes when you clean something is very satisfying, but that's kind of, everything else is just whoosh, like it's just the water noise forever.
And I think this game does a lot better in smaller chunks.
Yes.
If you could just, I don't know, piece together how much I've complained about this one level, because everything else up to this point has been fine. It's just this one level. I think they took it a step too far.
Well, I have the same complaint for the stuff that I played this week, because I finished the Warhammer 40k DLC. And that last level, like all the rest of the levels I could do in one sitting. This last level, it took me 3 sittings, and each one was pretty long. And like, I appreciate that they kind of capped off this DLC with a really big spaceship, essentially, and like the top two wings go up and down, which is always that frustrating thing of like, I've cleaned everything on this part and it still has like 25% clean. What am I missing? And then you like hover over and it says push the down button on the D-pad to lift the wing, and lift it, and it's just like, oh, it's so dirty under there. Oh my god.
Especially with like the helicopter too, where it's like, where am I missing stuff? Oh, it has rotors,
right?
Top
it's just like
and bottom.
No. But like, I appreciate that they have these big levels, but some of them, I agree, feel like they're a little bit too big, or they're like too big and too complex at the same time, where there's like too many little pieces or too many, you know, the underside of this thing is way too big, or oh, I have to climb on top of this and then climb on something else to clean it. Like, it just feels like there's like a little bit too much, where I'm okay maybe spending an hour cleaning a really big thing, but when you start to get into like 2 or 3 hours, that's where I feel like I'm like, all right, we could maybe split this into 2, possibly.
Yeah. And I think the biggest complaint that I have, and I haven't fully tested this with my daughter yet, but reading the forums, I think some of this has been patched, but playing co-op is not the way to play this game, even though it's an option.
Right.
Because only the host gets progression, and at one point, only the host earned money.
Oh, God.
Now, when I was helping to clean the house that my daughter was on, I was getting money, but I don't think I was getting as much as I would have if I had been playing the level by myself, that level brand new by myself.
Sure.
So I was getting some money, so I think that may have been patched, but it's just that whole thing of, okay, this is massive, and I want to play this with somebody, but if they're not getting anything out of it, then why would they play it co-op, you know?
Right, exactly. If you both aren't getting progression, then like, it's a great game and it'll go faster if you're cleaning it together, but it will always be the frustrating thing of, I just played this with my friend for like 4 hours and now he's halfway through the game and I'm still cleaning the van. It's like, that's frustrating.
That was the other thing too, because that like I said, I don't remember the dates on these forums, but it even went so far as the person who was not the host was also not unlocking trophies or achievements.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if that's still the case. Yeah. So
yeah, and they have been patching this game quite a bit. Still haven't patched the infinite loading bug on PS5, which I'm getting increasingly grumpy about because it's been over a month. But they have been... It is a small team, and they have been doing a bunch of good work, but it is frustrating when there are still games out there that are like, host gets the only progress, good luck. And it's like, ugh, all right, it's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, but that's all I've been doing for this. Do you have anything else?
No, I just wanted to...
Okay.
I checked out some of the... Because they came out with the Muckingham Files Part 4 is now finally out. That's their DLC series, and the first 3 packs have either 2 or 3 levels apiece, and this one so far has 2 levels in it. And I looked at the one level the one level they had available was like, clean the pool of a like a super yacht or something, so it was kind of a little bit different. And then the other one was clean the inside of an aquarium. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It starts in this big room that you clean. You go down a hallway, there's another big room to clean. You go down a hallway, you clean the inside of a tank. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty... I feel like this one is going to take quite a while here. So it's nice to see that they're still coming out with these free DLC packs that are pretty big. It's not like, clean a motorcycle, thanks for 5 minutes. You know, it's...
Yeah.
They are rather large. It's not just, the big levels are the like tie-in DLC packs. So
I was gonna say there's a Alice in Wonderland DLC that my son is super geeked about.
Yeah, that one just came out. I haven't. I think for those ones, like, I bought the Final Fantasy VII one and the Warhammer ones for full price, which full price is like $8. It's not that much. But like Moon did with those the pinball tables, I added the rest of them to my wish list, and I was like, all right, if these are like 50% off or whatever, they're $3-4, I'll buy them. I'll get to them eventually. Like that, I'll support the devs at least a little bit here. So they'll get me with another DLC pack in the future. I'm sure it'll come out and be like, well, that's really dumb. I got to get this and download PowerWash Simulator again. All right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, that was my first game. My next game here, I'm gonna briefly touch on this game on the way to another game. So Sony put out, if you look at the Sony store on PS5, they have they'll do like theme listings where it's like, these are great couch co-op games, or do you want to play an introduction to JRPGs? And they actually do a cool thing where like for those introduction ones, be like, what is a JRPG? And they kind of do a quick definition. They say, Final Fantasy VII is one of the biggest JRPGs of all time. This is a great starting point for blah, blah, blah. So it's not just like a listing of games with no context. They provide a little bit of context there, which I think is kind of neat.
Okay.
They had a listing for roguelikes. And I was like, all right, let's fire this up. But it wasn't one of those context ones. It was just a listing of games. So I was looking through there, trying to see if there's something I had forgotten for our giant list of roguelikes to be played for We Roguelike It. Check out weroguelikeit.com for the full spreadsheet. And in there, they had Dungeon of the Endless. And I was like, Sony, this doesn't work on PS5. It worked on PS4, and they never patched it to... And I thought, wait, when's the last time I've checked this? Maybe I should download it and check it out.
Oh, no.
They have patched it, and it does load now, which is great news for the 5 sickos like me that like Dungeon of the Endless on console. If you haven't played Dungeon of the Endless, we talked about this on a season on We Roguelike It. It is brutally difficult, even on the mode that says, quote-unquote,
easy.
Too easy. They're still very, very difficult.
It was super divisive in that season too. So if you want to know what it goes like when one of us likes and the other one doesn't, that's a good season to give it a shot.
Yeah, I really like Dungeon of the Endless, and I will 100% always understand why people don't. I played it, and I had a run going, and I don't want to talk about this one too much, but I had a run going. I didn't remember what I was going to do. I started a brand new run, and I kind of forgot how to play it. I was like, oh yeah, I got to bring the crystal from one thing to another, and et cetera, et cetera. I lost my run like 3 rooms in because I just forgot how to play it, and the game is also brutally difficult. And it took a really long time. When you finish the game, it basically gives you like a run ending sort of screen of like, here's how many doors you opened, here's how many monsters you killed, all your stats. I can't tell you. It took like maybe 30-45 seconds to load that screen. When it loaded that screen eventually, I cannot tell you the inhuman screech that emanated from this game. I don't know what sort of audio bug got introduced, but like my kid like jumped 6 feet in the air when this thing happened. Like it was horrible. And I thought, oh yeah, I do like this game. But looking at the rest of the trophies I have, they're all the ones that you get when you've been playing this game for a year already and you want to do the hard stuff. I'm not going to do that. This game is too hard. Then I remembered, oh yeah, I bought the sequel. I bought Endless Dungeon. Best Buy does those things where it's just like, we're unloading these games. It's $20 for like the day one version with all the DLC. And I was like, well, yeah, sure. I'll buy Endless Dungeon.
Seriously. That's why I still buy physical. Yeah, digital sales are great, but
I just bought Skull and Bones for $10, and the one they sent me was like the day one edition with a whole grip of DLC. Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, if I feel like playing one of these games, I should just fire up the brand new one, and let's see what that is. Number one has a tutorial. Great start.
Boo.
Thank you. One of the easily the biggest problems of that first game was there was just like a couple of text boxes in your first run that was like, yes, crystal over here, heroes, don't die, whatever. It's like, okay, sure. This one has you going through not only learning the controls, but learning like how time progresses in the game, how to build turrets, how to manage them, what to protect, what to shoot, stuff like that. So it's immediately way better. It is a significantly different game than the previous one. So the previous one was a 2D top-down sort of thing where you're moving these very pixelated characters between rooms, and then every time you open a door in the like space station or whatever that you're in, time would progress and eventually get to the point where you would open a door and enemies would spawn out of a whole bunch of different rooms. This game is a isometric shooter, like not twin stick, but almost there. And one of the biggest differences from the first game was you had to ferry this crystal from place to place to kind of power things and make sure you could escape. In this one, the crystal has legs, so you're essentially telling it, hey, you're here right now, but I need you to wander over to this door or this slot or whatever, and you have to escort it the entire way as it wanders its way through the level that you're in. So it's kind of a neat idea, because one of the bigger problems in the first game was if you only have two characters with you, one of them has to carry the crystal. So they can't shoot, they can't use their abilities, they can't do anything. They move slow as heck. So you were essentially kneecapping yourself by doing the mechanics. But in this one, I think it's a cool idea that you're ferrying the crystal from one place to another. That's kind of all the similarities at this point. Other than that, it's a pretty different game in a way that I'm still kind of not sure how I feel about it. It feels even more tower defense than the first one, because I liked in the first one how every time you opened a door, like I said, there was a chance for enemies to spawn from wherever they would spawn. In this one, opening doors progresses that meter. It's essentially a danger meter, but so does time. So if you're building stuff, you're interacting with things, you're upgrading turrets, things like that, that still progresses that time. And that, to me, is a little bit frustrating as someone who liked the first one, because I liked that if you weren't doing anything door-wise, I felt like there was kind of a breathing period of, all right, I'm going to go repair all my stuff, I'm going to go spend my materials to build turrets, I'm going to go do some research, I'm going to kind of set up for my next wave. And there wasn't that continual pressure behind you of like, no, you need to keep moving because the timer continues to go. So that's a little bit frustrating to me, but I don't think it really destroys the game at all. But I kind of liked the progression of the previous one over this game. I think one positive and negative compared to the first one, excuse me. Similarly, both have really long runs. One of the speed run trophy in this game was for finishing a run in under 60 minutes. So, like, these are long runs in this game. especially if you're going down a couple of floors. Thankfully, this does have a really, really good save and quit mechanic in it, where no matter where you are, or no matter, as long as it's not in the middle of an enemy wave, you can just save and quit. You can abandon a run too if you want, but you can just save and quit and kind of get out of there. There's a whole bunch of upgrades in this game that I kind of don't want to get into. I think it's really interesting that you can upgrade each one of your characters by doing a mission while you're doing a run, and then that gives them an ability to equip essentially like a passive skill while they're out and doing a run. They have 2 skills like they had in the first one. That sort of stuff is largely similar. I feel like the normal difficulty is way, way, way more manageable compared to the first game. I was making it through at least 2 or 3 floors out of the 4 or 5 floors. So it felt, as long as you're kind of trying to manage what doors you're opening and what you're doing, it feels a lot more manageable. I tried one of the easier difficulties. I don't remember what it's called, but I got to the very end of the game. I also didn't realize there's boss fights in this game, which was really wild and unexpected. I fought a giant bug where you had to do like a multi-phase boss fight to fight it, which worked pretty interestingly. I also got to the final floor, and every once in a while you run into these little totems that has will give you a debuff in that room or on the entire floor, and you can get rid of them by spending a currency called dust, which you use to power rooms. I got to the bottom floor, and there were 3 of those that were crippling, and I made it almost nowhere on that floor. I didn't realize I'd picked up a key during that run that disabled one of those debuffs on the final floor. So
did you have to activate it, or did you just auto do it?
When I went back to the like hub, the headquarters hub, I think they call it the saloon, I talked to one character, and they're like, "Hey, you found one of these keys. I've permanently disabled one of the debuffs on the final floor." I was like, oh, "Okay." So I got to that point, and I wasn't supposed to beat it yet, which I'm fine with. But now that I go there again, I'll probably find another key, and I'll have a better chance of fighting that. So I don't know how much more of this I'm going to play, because it's good, but I don't know if I have the time really to dedicate to a game where I'm doing 60, 90-minute runs with multiple characters on multiple difficulties, the usual roguelite, etc., etc., etc. But
yep.
I like it a lot as someone who liked the first one a lot. I also went into it worried because everybody who had played the first one and liked it, like myself, played the second one, and they're like, they messed it up. Like, they ruined the game. It should have been like the first one, yada, yada, yada. But I played this worried about that and came out of it fairly happy with what I played, and realizing that it's a sequel largely, but it's also pretty different from the original one. So it's cool. And Endless Dungeon is great. I think if you're a real roguelike sicko, I think you'll probably enjoy this. If you aren't, this is not a game I would recommend for very many people, because it is still pretty brutally difficult. The game is more than happy to just kick you in the teeth at every opportunity and just say, like, hey man, you lost, but you should have prepped better next time. It's one of those, like, you're learning more and more every time you do a run, and if you like that, then cool, but if you don't, then it's going to be a really, really frustrating experience. So that's Endless Dungeon. I'm playing that on PS5 as well. and it ran just fine. No complaints there. Next game, I have a whole bunch of games this week. I'm going to try and blow through them. I'm sorry. Castaway.
You're
good. This came out this past week on everything. This is $8. It is a very short, kind of classic, like Game Boy Color, Super NES Zelda game.
So it looks a lot like Zelda right now.
Yeah, it's a Zelda game. Like it's very much a loving homage to Zelda. You crash land on a planet, a bunch of dinosaurs steal your stuff. You pick up a sword and you go do a bunch of dungeons. I mention it's short because it's 30 minutes long, and it has 3 dungeons. So you kind of get to a dungeon, you pick up the one piece of gear that's in that dungeon, you beat a very cute and clever boss. The bosses are really good in this. And then you use that tool to get to the next dungeon. It's not very complex at all. If you've picked up any of these Zelda games, you'll probably blow through it like I did in about 30 minutes. I think its strength really is that if you have someone who's younger that maybe wants to get into a Zelda game or kind of an isometric adventure action game like this is a really, really good avenue for them to get into games like this. Because none of the puzzles are super hard. None of the boss fights are super hard. They're telegraphed really clearly, so you can really clearly tell what you're supposed to do. And it controls really well, and there's no story to it really. It just, go save your tools and your dog. So there's nothing going to be objectionable in it. The thing that I thought was interesting is when you clear this difficulty, it unlocks...
I think you're about to answer what I was about to ask, because it looks like there might be an infinite floor.
Yeah,
thing.
there's the tower gets unlocked, which seems from the trophies to have 50 floors at least.
Minimum, yeah.
It's a much more difficult kind of combat and puzzle focused thing. So the quote unquote main game itself is 30 minutes, but you can kind of treat that as a tutorial for this other more difficult section. I didn't die at all in the main game itself. I think maybe I got close to low health maybe once. But in this, I think the highest I've been is floor 15 or so. Because it can get pretty challenging if you're not paying attention, or if you don't have your wits about you for some of the puzzles or for some of the combat stuff. So it's pretty cool. I played this on PS5 and I thought it was really great. I know a lot of people are out there really unhappy about the game's length for the price, but it's a single developer, and it's a really great game for $8. I've spent way more money on a terrible fast food meal than I have spent on this game that I really enjoyed.
I mean, you can also say you've spent way more money on a terrible video game that's supposed to be AAA.
The number of times we've spent $60 or $70 on a game that's hot garbage that I've played for 30, 40 hours is check the history of this show. So I kind of appreciate a game that knows its influences and just in there and saying, yeah, man, this is a 30-minute deal. It's less than $10. Go play it. And then here's this really cool extra. I couldn't find too much footage of the tower mode. Otherwise I'd play it here on the stream. But here's this cool other thing you can check out. So I'm hoping to play more of that this week and check out more of the tower mode, because I think that seems really neat, and see how... there's also 2 other modes. There's a speedrun mode and an unfair mode, which seems to be their kind of hard difficulty. I haven't checked out either one of those yet. It just came out on Friday, so I haven't really had a lot of time with it. But yeah, Castaway. Super cool. Check it out. I think it seems great, especially for maybe some of the younger players you may have around. It might be a really good intro to the kind of Zelda-like genre here. Next game here, I'm going to blame this squarely on PlayStation Stars. They put out a new campaign that said, "Hey man, you want a little digital tchotchke for the ship from Dredge? Just get the introduction trophy. No big deal, right? It'll be easy." And I said, "Oh yeah, it's probably a couple of minutes. No big deal. I could check this out. Why not?" I spent the majority of my day yesterday playing Dredge.
Nice.
So if you haven't seen this before, this is the kind of eldritch fishing game where you're fishing up unspeakable horrors from the depths of the sea. It is way more relaxing than I was really expecting it to be, which I know how that sounds based on eldritch horror fishing game. But it does that thing. The thing that caught me was, well, you just go out in this little patch of ocean we got out here, fish up some fish, fill up your boat, bring it back and sell it. Whoops, you can afford some upgrades. And I'm like, oh no. No, wait, okay, no, hold on, don't show me the upgrades. And then next thing you know,
Boston, I don't like survival games.
I don't. There's
plays essentially a survival game mechanics, just not without the hunger mechanic.
The only meter in
That's
this
what kills it.
The only meter in this is sanity. I like a game that has you going crazy, so it's got that. I like Darkest Dungeon, another impossibly difficult game, but it has that loop that I really like in these games of go out and earn money and earn upgrade materials and fish up all this stuff, do a couple of quests, come back, sell all that stuff, and be able to get a little bit further from where you're at, kind of rinse and repeat. With the extra bonus of if you're out too late, if you're not resting enough, you start seeing things in the world and in the game. And you slowly start going insane. So I'm my family was out of the house yesterday for most of the day, which is why this is basically all I did yesterday. And it's one of those things that really just caught me immediately. Of this is why I've been looking forward to playing this game for so long, is because I knew it would catch me with that kind of like. It's that thing that, Stardew Valley caught me on, which is like, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff for me to do, but it's all this kind of cozy, stakes aren't super high, but they're high enough to keep the game interesting, but, it's not, the game isn't really going to punish you too much. I did turn on, they have a new difficulty in this game, which I turned on. It's called passive difficulty. It's essentially, the thing I didn't like about the game as I got into it was when you stay out late at night, when things get real weird, there's stuff that starts to attack your ship, and when your ship gets attacked, equipment will get broken and stuff you've caught will fall off. And I found that pretty frustrating. It seemed at odds with, I don't want to say the design of the game, because that's how they designed it, but it felt kind of at odds with how the type of fun I was having with Dredge. So when I turned that off, I'm still going back to sleep at the end of the day, or like finding a dock to hang out at the end of the day. Largely because I don't want my sanity meter to get out of control. But if I'm out after dark, I'm at least not getting super penalized for it, which feels a little bit better. And I do really appreciate, with some other games, other cozy games we've been playing lately, I really do appreciate when a game has an in-game encyclopedia that says, here's this thing that you've caught or found or whatever, it can be found in this area. So if the quest comes out and says like, I need one of these eels, I don't have to pull up a wiki or whatever, or some game rant web page and say like, where do I find where do I find lava eels? It's just in the game. Thank you, game. I know this is hard to do, but I think that's one of the big reasons why I've spent so much time playing this in one session. It's because I didn't have to, I got protected from the horrors that are inside of my phone for a couple of hours, which I greatly appreciate. And I have to be like, okay, Google, where Reddit, where is this eel in Dredge the game? I didn't have to do any of that, which I really, really greatly appreciate.
Especially when they're stupid specific about it too, where it's like, oh, you have to be at the spot at 2 a.m. in the morning during a thunderstorm.
The reason I haven't got 1,000 gamer score on Stardew Valley is because I still need to catch the legendary fish, and that's specific weathers in specific seasons and specific times of days.
At a specific like tile on the map, Yeah.
Also, for anybody listening and wondering why he used the word Reddit in his search, that's because it avoids the AIs.
That's right. That's right. So I'm really enjoying Dredge. It seems like I'm probably about halfway through the game already. It doesn't seem like it's a super long experience. They just released a DLC pack. So I'm playing this. It's on... So I either got it as part of PS Plus or at some point, or it's one of the game catalog games. I don't know. It's part of PS Plus for free at some point.
So this was Dredge?
Yeah, Dredge.
Yeah. It's currently on sale on Xbox for $17 for the edition that has the black key, and the complete edition is $40. Currently not on sale, but I did wishlist it.
Yeah, so I bought they just came out with the DLC pack, because they just came out with a new DLC, the Iron Rig, which is like $12 or so. At least on PlayStation, they have a DLC pack for $15 that includes all 3 DLC packs, which is the Iron Rig, which is like $12, something else that was like $10, and another piece of DLC that was $5. So to me, that's a no-brainer for all of that stuff. And I just ran across the Iron Rig stuff, which takes place in like the south of the map. And when I got introduced to that, they're like, help us build these buildings on this oil rig out in the middle of nowhere. And I was like, no, my weakness, building a town, no. So I just started with that stuff. So I'm really enjoying Dredge. I kind of knew I would, because this seems like it's something up my alley. But I'm really, really great music, cool visuals, cool storytelling so far. It's the kind of fun, spooky storytelling of like, not everyone's telling me everything, but there's probably some ancient, unspeakable horror that's haunting these people, right? That sort of thing. So, it's cool. Dredge, check it out.
It looks like it's part of PlayStation Extra.
Oh, okay, perfect.
But it is currently $24 right now, and they're the $14 for the complete edition as well. Like pretty much the same thing like Moon was saying for the Xbox.
Right, that's not too bad. Yeah. Next game here, a little to the left. Clipping away more on that this week.
Did you finally deal with the breadcrumbs? Did you finally get past your frustration with the breadcrumbs?
I finally sucked it up and got rid of those breadcrumbs. I ran into a level this week that I really liked. Talked about last week the level I have here on screen, which is the organizing the batteries in the battery tray. That was one I like, which I will probably like that Drawers and Cupboards DLC, I think is what it's called. It seems like that's an extension of that. I'm on a chapter 4 now, and I ran into a level where you have a bunch of moving boxes that are all on side view on the screen, and immediately clocked what the 2 different ways of organizing those are, and then
see if my memory is square in the middle, and then coloration. Oh no, arrows is the other
you
one,
connect
I believe.
the different arrows. And I was like, I'll connect the arrows. That'll be the easy one. And then I did it, and I was like,
Nope.
that was pretty hard. Let me try to do the other one. Nope, that one's way harder. Oh no. So it's been kind of neat to run into. I guess I think what I'm realizing is my bigger problem with A Little to the Left is there are a lot of levels in this game. Like there's a ton of content. And I think too many of the early levels are too easy. And I'm not saying like I'm some god gamer or whatever. Like, who can stop me from gaming? But I think
it ups the stakes really rapidly at the midpoint.
Yeah, and I would have liked to have seen like that some of that stuff get peppered in at the beginning of the game, because I think some of that stuff was just a little bit too easy. And I think when you look at a level and you don't immediately like the three solutions don't immediately click. Like I was talking last week about the glasses that you're spinning around. Like those
that one took me so long.
Me too. And like when I figured it out, I was like, oh, that's really clever. Like I think when that happens, I think that's really, really cool. And I think some of the opening levels are like, oh, the book's smallest to highest. Let's make the picture on the side. Whoopity-doo, there's the 2. Like, I think the simplicity of those early levels is good as a tutorial, but I kind of wish it ramped a little bit faster. So now that I'm into the harder stuff, I think the game is pretty interesting, because there's even levels where I'm like, all right, I solved the one solution here. I'm good. And then it pops up and it's like, that's 1 of 3. And I'm like, what the hell? How am I gonna, what am I gonna do? And that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting. So I've also been doing some of the daily tidies, which is their kind of daily challenges. I have been interested in those because it's not just play this level again. It's essentially we're taking one of these levels you played before and made it harder. So it's not just like, oh yeah, put the books in this order, yada da. It's going to be that level, but it's going to be way harder in some sort of different way. And I think that's interesting, because every day now I'm going in and my kid and I are sitting down and saying, like, at least until she goes back to school, saying like, all right, what's today's daily tidy going to be? And we'll figure out like, oh, what do we have to do? I haven't even seen this puzzle. What do I have to do with this one? And kind of figuring it out. So
are you going to be a freak like me?
I don't know, man. 100 daily titles is a lot. You don't have to do them in a row. Thankfully, it's not Binding of Isaac.
There is one for doing 30 in a row.
Oh, God, I didn't even know that. I'll have to look at the trophies and see if that one exists on the PlayStation side.
It's pretty much do the story, do specific things in certain levels that are like little hidden things.
I've gotten a couple of those, yeah.
Have you done the cat paw one yet?
Yeah, I have smacked the cat's paw out of the way. I'm just like, no, stop it, messing up my level.
There's a couple of those, and then it's 30 consecutive daily. It's staggered, so it's like 5, 10, 20, and 30 daily consecutive, and then like 5, 10, 20, 50, 75, and 100 daily tidies in total.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with it for a while, I think, because I like having the kind of morning ritual of like waking up my brain and getting a tidy out of the way. But we'll see how long that lasts. But I'm kind of happy I feel like it's finally clicking with me. There's some stuff that I wish was a little bit different, but again, it's like a 2-person development team, so I'm not super upset about any sort of issues I might have with this game, because they made a cool game with just the 2 of them. And like I said, there's so many levels in this game, and it seems like each of the DLC packs has a ton of levels in them too. And I think they're only a couple of bucks a piece too, so they're pretty reasonable. So Yep, a little to the left. One more game here. Dragon Quest IV. I finished Chapter 4, which thankfully was blissfully short. That was the Two Sisters chapter. I'm glad that was short because I was just ready to get on with the game at this point. I'm into Chapter 5 now. Chapter 5 did that thing that Dragon Quest games do every once in a while, where it's like, this wonderful bucolic town we're living in, this blue sky game, tragedy. Just like, oh, no, okay. Hey, remember all these people from the intro of the game in your wonderful town? They're dead because of you. It's just like, oh, God, Dragon Quest. Oh, God, what have I done? Remember your best friend? Dead. Thanks. It's just like, oh.
Or is he? Maybe he's the final boss now.
I mean, I wouldn't put
out to get vengeance.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past. But there's an interesting. This is a spoiler for a game that's like 35 years old at this point. But essentially, in the very first prologue chapter, before you do Ragnar's adventure, you're in your town and you're doing your training to get stronger for the future. And you are introduced to your best friend, who's like a shapeshifter. She can cast morph on herself to change herself into anything. And when you're reintroduced to everybody in the beginning of the 5th chapter, you're all grown up now. You're just shy of you're a teenager. They say a specific age, but it doesn't really matter. Also, I really like the female hero's design in this game. Because you have like this super long, super curly, very Toriyama hair, and it's really great, especially after his passing. It's like, okay, that's a Toriyama character for sure. But everybody's like, we need to protect you. We didn't tell you. You're the hero that's gonna save the world. You need to go hide yourself away, and we'll defend you against the bad guys. And they get to the point where you are, and then your best friend changes into, morphs into you, and then just falls on the bad guy's sword, so that they're like, yep, we got the hero, and we killed everybody in the town. Let's get out of here. Surely there's nobody left. And I'm like, oh, God. Dragon Quest. What are we doing here, man? So that was kind of a surprise, especially after coming off of a lot of these other Dragon Quest games. But I have the Two Sisters in my party now, and I think I am heading out to get the shopkeeper guy. So I'm just beginning that, but I probably would have had more time to play it had I, number one, not been playing Dredge so much, but also there's a lot of going back to school stuff that's going on in my house right now. So I know it sounds like I've played a lot of stuff this week, but Castaway was 30 minutes. This other thing was an hour or so. Not a lot of time there.
Touching a lot of little things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's all I'm playing this week. Let's take a break. Boop, 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 boop. Thankfully not a big second part of this show. And then one more recording. Hooray. Yay. The crowd goes wild. We rogue like it. We rogue. Yeah.
Dare for a game. Dare for a game.
That's right. Yeah. Sorry, Brotato. It just didn't do it for us. Nice to see that people in community are enjoying it, though. Got a couple people in the Discord clicking with that, which is nice.
Yeah, because it's for the basics. I love you guys.
Oh, no. All right. Are you guys ready to finish this up?
Yes. I think Mr. Wasp is either dead or has left.
Goodbye. Safe travels.
He was originally hanging out next to the basement sink, which is on the other side of this wall.
Well, he needs to go back to hell to refuel.
He made his way through the ceiling gap.
Oh.
To my lamp. And I think he might have found his way back that direction again.
Safe travels back to one of the circles of hell. Have fun. All right. Let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of August 19th, 2024. Black Myth Wukong comes out on PC and PS5. You've probably seen this for one reason or another out there.
It's the new target of that crowd.
Yeah, I have been seeing a burgeoning controversy that it seems to be catching speed with every day that this game gets closer to release. So we're not going to talk about it here because a lot of it is there's a lot of like
you can just say it's that crowd and we can move on.
I mean, it's the Gamergate crowd, but it's also like there's some misunderstandings too of like one company is doing PR for the game in China where this game is made, another company is doing the PR in these countries, so there's like a bunch of misunderstandings and like miscommunications from a bunch of stuff. There's no PS5 keys that are out yet, and it's only been on PC, which seems to be running poorly for some people, etc., etc., etc. We've seen this time and time again. Interestingly, it also seems like it's not a super Soulsborne as I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be like one of those kind of parry-heavy Soulsborne games, and it doesn't seem like it 100% is, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So it seems to be reviewing pretty well so far. So people seem to be really liking it.
Performance issues. Good.
Yeah, again, 8s are really good reviews. I'm so tired of having this conversation, seeing this conversation on the internet. Like, this game is, at time of recording, is sitting at like an 85% on Metacritic, which like Metacritic is its own problem, but like
as well, like let's not make bones about this. 8s are not only good.
Yeah.
8s are especially impressive for a unknown developer with their first ever game.
Right. And it's like a PC and PS5 exclusive too, which like there's a lot of stuff against
which is disappointing after it was shown at the Xbox showcase a couple of years ago.
Yeah. There's some stuff going on in this game. Rebecca Valentine, I think it was at IGN, wrote a really great piece about questioning some of the sort of stances and values and issues of the company that's developing this. So I'd recommend, if you're curious about that, I'd recommend reading her piece. It's really good.
Like, if you want someone good to read, by the way, just that name by itself.
Oh, her stuff is so good.
Every time there's anything serious, major, interesting, whatever the case may be, I listen to Waypoint, formerly Waypoint, now Remap, and it's like, oh, hey, if you want the skinny on this, go check out the article by, and it's always Rebecca Valentine.
Yep. She's doing some really great investigative reporting for years and years and years and years now. She's been at IGN for a while. I don't remember where she was beforehand, but she's been doing great work for a really long time. Next game here, we have Dustborn. That's all one word. That comes out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. This is a me game. This is a narrative adventure feelings game. Has a very interesting comic book style to it, which I also forgot to mention about Endless Dungeon. Very cool comic book style for that. But this looks kind of neat. It seems to be a like anti-authoritarian adventure game with a very cool looking cast of characters. So I feel like we had seen this at like Summer Games Fest or something like that, one of Keeley's joints at some point, and I had kind of totally forgotten about it until I saw this trailer again today. So this looks cool. I'm going to be putting this on the wish list for sure. I don't really have time to play it right now, unfortunately, which is a bummer. But that's Dustborn. Next game, Mika and the Witch's Mountain, came out on Switch and PC. This is a very blue sky, very friendly looking 3D kind of witch flying delivery game that looks very, very, very charming.
Kiki's Delivery Service, the video game?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You're kind of, you know, I think you're picking up what they're putting down here. It looks like a beautiful city to wander around, deliver stuff. You know, it looks very cute and very cool. So that's Mika and the Witch's Mountain coming out this week. Last up, we have Concord coming out on PS5 and PC. This is Sony's big push lately. They're pushing Concord hard.
Is this that 4-party? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 4-player Overwatch, you know, Valorant sort of thing. People seem to
Who's this by again?
Oh boy, who is this by? I'll look it up here in a second. I think it's a new team, but this people seem to really like it coming out of the early beta that they had. I saw a lot of people speaking a lot more positively about it than I was expecting, because I thought people would treat this like Marvel Rivals, which is like, yeah, it's Overwatch. It just has like a different skin on it. I thought that was going to be what the answer was, but a lot of people seem to have a lot more fun with this than I thought. This is Firewalk Studios, which is a brand new company, but they are a Sony studio. So I'm not sure. I don't know what the pedigree, because it's always like, oh, we've started a new studio and all these people have made, you know, they all made Overwatch 1 and now they're going to make Concord. So I don't know. I'm curious to see how this is going to go. They just had a big news story this week that it's not going to have microtransactions at launch. So I feel like thankfully more people are learning from Helldivers 2 about like, just pump the brakes a little bit on all of this stuff. Like you can, you know, this game isn't free, so you really gotta pump the brakes on the MTX here. So we'll see. I'm not gonna be checking this one out because this is definitely not my genre, but curious to see what people are gonna say about this one. We do have a quick update here for what's coming to PS Plus this week on the 20th. On Extra and Premium, getting added to the game catalog, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt for PS4 and PS5. If you haven't played that, it's really good. You should at least try it. You might not like it, but it's really good.
I have bought that game twice and not found the time to play it. Twice.
Yeah, I understand why it doesn't click with a lot of people, because it controls a little strangely. It plays a little strangely. Like
I was gonna ask, does anyone know anyone who's played it recently and can say if it's aged? Well, I mean, it still looks great, but I mean, controller-wise and quality of life-wise,
right? Yeah, does it still hold up?
It's on one of the 3 hard drives over there somewhere, doing something.
He'll get to it.
I was just curious because I played it when it came out, so I still have rose-colored glasses of. Even with some of the glitches it had on release.
Right. But Wild Hearts Standard Edition coming out on PS5. That's Ubisoft's Monster Hunter alike that people seem to really like once the performance issues.
Ubisoft's? I thought that was EA's.
I'll have to look here. But people seem to really like that, especially as like a kind of a soft introduction to Monster Hunter. Yeah, you're right. That is EA.
Uh-huh.
Ubisoft tried to put out one of their own. I don't remember what they called it. Anyways, Cult of the Lamb.
Hey, if Ubisoft want to do that, give me no, Ape Escape isn't them. Imagine an Ape Escape Monster Hunter.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, that's called Metal Gear Solid 3. Cult of the Lamb comes out PS4 and PS5. If you haven't checked that out, you should. They put out a ton of quality of life patches since then, and they're just coming out in a couple of weeks. If not, it just came out a new piece of DLC for that. It's like a massive co-op upgrade.
I was going to say it adds co-op, and that's all I know about it.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of stuff around that. Cult of the Lamb is super cool. I enjoyed my time with that quite a bit. Ride 5 comes out on PS5. Watch Dogs 2 comes back on PS4. Please play Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs 2 is really good.
Listen. Yeah. just like Wild Hearts, just like Witcher, just like Watch Dogs 2, it's over there somewhere.
Right, it's on the hard drive. It's waiting to be called. Pick me out a winner, Bobby. Watch Dogs 2.
It's waiting for that, or to be moved onto a hard drive where I can play it in. Because I have an 8 terabyte over there, just chock full of games.
That's right, man. We're gonna have to get you a server farm over there to just keep racking things up.
You want to build me a raid? I will happily.
I'm not
gonna
build
hook up
you
a NAS
anything.
to a
You need to get
Series
your
X?
problem under control.
No, I don't. Clearly,
you're gonna hear fans in the background in a little bit.
That's right. They also put out like 5 different Sword Art Online games across PS4 and PS5. I know literally nothing about those games. Don't ask me. I am not the person to keep track of those. On PlayStation Premium, they put out a bunch of VR games. Well, there's one VR game. Vacation Simulator is out on PSVR 1 and 2. People seem to really, really like that. So if you have PSVR, that might be worth a shot. And then the Time Splitters PS2 trilogy is out on PS4 and PS5 under the new PS2 emulator, which people seem to really, really like. Is
it bad that we all have those games of nostalgia? That franchise is a big one for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad that the new PS2 emulator seems to be really good, because that seems like a really good game to kind of showcase it. So we do have one news story this week before we head out, and we have a good news story for once. Won't you believe it? That Krafton, who is the publisher of PUBG and the Callisto Protocol, they have picked up Tango Gameworks and the Hi-Fi Rush IP. So you remember a couple months ago, Microsoft was like, "Oh, I don't know what we're gonna do, except for lay off everyone in this incredibly successful company that made a great game, under budget and dared to want to make a new one." So Krafton picked up both the studio. It also seems, based on people that worked there on Twitter, basically anybody that worked there before had the open door of like, "Hey, do you want to come back to Tango Gameworks?" Understandably, seems like most of them have said hell yes. And then they bought the Hi-Fi Rush IP. They say in the short term, supporting Hi-Fi Rush. Not really sure what that means. Developing Hi-Fi Rush sequel, which it seems like, reading between the lines from people that got laid off from Tango, that was their next project. They were talking to Microsoft saying, "Here's our plan for a sequel. Here's how much we would need. Here's the budget and everything. Here's the kind of framework we want to go for." And supporting Tango for future projects. So Tango's not just going to be the Hi-Fi Rush studio. They're going to let them continue to work on other stuff. 2 things about that. That's the only IP that they have purchased. So
I cannot wait for them to produce Tokyo Ghostwire.
That's right. Ghost String Kyoto.
If Kojima can do DS2 and everybody knows exactly what that is.
Exactly. Yeah, so they didn't buy any of that stuff, but they say they are working with Xbox to make sure that Hi-Fi Rush, Evil Within, and Ghostwire Tokyo are going to stay on storefronts even after the kind of purchase and transition has gone through. So thankfully it's not going to be like, well, whoopsie poopsie, we don't own these anymore, so delisted, whatever, LOL.
Everybody knows I bleed green.
Right.
Everybody knows I even drink green. I mean, it's right here. Come on.
That's right. You got it everywhere.
I can't help it. I genuinely hope they put out Hi-Fi Rush 2. I hope it's a banger. It sells like a bajillion copies, because Hi-Fi Rush 1 didn't do badly.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
It was a game. It was a Game Pass darling, but one of the it's the double-edged sword of Game Passes. The game did really well on Game Pass, but the conversion rate from Game Pass to purchased copies continues to decrease over time.
Yeah, So I hope they do a Hi-Fi Rush 2. I hope it sells like hotcakes.
Yep.
And I hope they get another award or two. Yeah. And then I, rightfully so, hope everybody rubs that in everybody in Microsoft's face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I sort of am a little hopeful because Callisto Protocol didn't do very well, sort of critically or sales-wise. It did fine, but it kind of launched in a rough state. And Crafton seemed to have the studio's support while they were going through all that. So, I think a lot of publishers would have been like, "Boy, you had a real flop on our hands this time. Let's just cut the whole studio and cut our losses." From what I remember, they didn't do that. So, here's hoping for Tango Gameworks that they can kind of get back on their feet, get back up and running, and keep making. I mean, all the stuff they made was really great. Like, it's just that's half of the reason why it was so baffling. It's like, sorry, you're gonna get rid of the Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo team and Hi-Fi Rush that was like your big award winner. Like, what are you doing? So
your whole reason for purchasing that company is the reason you were getting rid of that company,
right? So thankfully we have one good news story this year about someone finally did something good here, and hopefully saved that team. So
yeah,
good on them. All right, let's get out of here before any other bad news stories pop up. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page. Campsite.bio/E1M1 for all the links over there, along with, don't forget, patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones equals numbers.
Get all the cool stuff, behind the scenes, early access, exclusive stuff over there. $5 a month is the recommended tier. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. Rate and review the show wherever you can. Only max stars and glowing reviews, please. Don't go over there to be like one of those letterbox jerks that's like, I want to write a really funny review for this popular movie, 1 star. It's a pun. Don't come on.
Or be that thing where you're complaining about the theater and not the actual movie.
Exactly. Yeah, like this is why Valve is going to be controlling and removing joke reviews on Steam, because it's just, you're not as funny as you think you are, and you're just ruining it for people that are trying to figure out, does this game run well on the personal computer? Yes or no?
Yep. Yeah. And in some cases, damaging livelihoods.
Exactly. Right. Reminder that if you like playing an indie game, especially on a storefront like Itch or Steam or something like that, this came to the forefront again with Castaway, since people are saying like 30 minutes for $8. If you like it, please go review it. That stuff, especially for small like solo devs and indie studios and stuff, that stuff really does help. It's not just like algorithm updating and stuff like that. Your positive review could mean that other people are like, oh, I did like Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages. This game is just like that? All right, cool. I got $8. Sure. I got an afternoon to play this thing.
Take the initiative and write out a thoughtful review.
Right.
Just a sentence or two.
Yeah. That stuff really doesn't only help podcasts like ours, but it does really help a bunch of indie games. So just be cool. Just be cool about it. And I think that's it. This has been, oh boy, this has been a very long episode. So on that note, we'll see you all next week. Bye.
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 All right, Nimp, what are your titles?
Speaking of a long episode, I got a ton of titles. Yes. Starting with, it's a sharp one, my wasp. Yay, Bubbles. Why is this a party now? Faith My Way There. You know what's great? Pinball. The only other pinball achievement freak like me. I like sending balls up a loopy ramp.
Big same.
Don't know if it hang on. Don't know if it's break my knees cool. a roguelike sicko.
That's me.
Are you gonna be a freak like me? And I have smacked the cat's paw.
Moon, what do you have?
Friendly Mr. Wasp, he's a sharp one. I'm good, spelled G-U-D. Storytelling of a third grader. Iconic caps. Well, Mr. Stern, not clean enough. Supervisor material. Roguelite sicko, and the only meter is sanity.
I have he's a sharp one. I have gotten good. A pinball summer. A roguelike sicko, and Mr. Stern. Anything else that's... Yeah.
I'll be honest, for me, the two that are jumping out are Mr. Stern and the only meter is sanity. Like, the only meter is sanity is
that's a really good
complete non sequitur, and it is a very much one of our show titles. I just like Mr. Stern because it's got a good mouthfeel.
Mm-hmm. I'm okay with the sanity one. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
All right. I'll circle it.
I'm ready.
I'm not. Hang on.
I'm going to make a reference to a thing I have never played.
Okay. And Nimp's over here doing research. This is intense.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The new Astrobot game comes out soon. Yes.
You know, if you pre-order it, you get like 50 coins from the PlayStation reward thing.
I already did, yeah. I didn't even know it was available. I'm just like... my daughter was like, did you pre-order the new Astrobot? And I was like, actually, I haven't yet. Let me go do that. PlayStation Stars was like, ha, sucker, got him. Here's 150 coins. Like, okay, thanks.
All right.
I'm just going to use those coins to buy Path of the Goddess, so joke's on you.
Yeah, why not? I got a deep cut.
Oh, okay.
So here we go.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 878 for August 19th, 2024. The only meter is sanity.
But the volume isn't a green bar anymore.
Welcome to Sanity's Requiem.
That's a good reference, Moon. I like it.
I've never played that game. Never once.
It's very good. You should probably play it on a CRT, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're both referencing the exact same thing.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.